I'm gonna try to play Fortnite. So today I want to talk about this crazy story from a couple months ago where I ended up in a neighborhood I should not have been in, and I saw some people fighting in a McDonald's. It was pretty crazy. The story starts out with me and my friend Joe. Joe was one of my closest friends when I was during my freshman year of college. We had been wanting to go and do something. The college I went to was kind of in the middle of nowhere. We were wanting to like go out and do something for the day, and so we came up with a day trip. And my friend Joe, he's a bit of a geography guy. When I say a bit, I mean like he's really good at geography. He has all the country's capitals memorized. I mean, this guy's a genius, okay? Like, when it comes to this stuff, he's a genius. One of the cool things that Joe likes to do is something called courthousing, which is basically when you go and visit every courthouse in the United States. And he's gone through a good bit of them, and the school that he was going to was in a completely different part of the country than where he was from. He asked me if I would go with him on a courthousing trip, and I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And so yeah, that's what we did. So we went to a couple of places on the East Coast. It was just going to be a day trip, so we drove for a few hours out to the coast, and we drove up the coast and hit a couple of spots. I don't remember which ones we went to be honest, but I know we hit a bunch of them in Maryland. We hit a bunch of them in Delaware, and I think we might have gone to Virginia. Not like I said, I don't remember anymore. But it was a fun trip. There were a bunch of cool stuff that we did there. We went to this little little town, and he was telling me it just looked interesting on the map. So we were going to this little town, and I thought that there would be like stuff there. It was like a coastal town. And so we get out of the car and we're walking around, and it's like dead silent. And I was like, Joe, this place feels kind of weird. I don't know about the vibes here. And he was like, no, come on. Let's walk down to the beach. And the place that we chose to park was like a pier. And so there were a bunch of like boats, and they were like swaying really like creepily in the wind, and it was like, you know, creaking quietly. But other than that, it was completely silent. And I was like, Joe, this place is creeping me out. And he was like, come on, let's just go take a walk. So that's what we did. We got out of the car. We started walking down the road, like, oopsies. We started walking down the road towards a neighborhood. And it's a really nice neighborhood. Keep in mind, these are all like these houses are right on the beach. And I was like, Joe, man, this just feels weird. Like, I feel like somebody's gonna come out of their house and tell us to leave. But he took a few pictures, and then he was like, all right, you're right, let's get out of here. And as we're walking back, this dude comes out of one of the boats that's on the dock, and he just stares at us. It's like this old white guy. He just stares at us. And I'm like, Joe, I think that's our cue to leave. So we get in the car, we keep heading out. And we drive down to another little town, and as we're driving through here, I come to realize there's like nothing in this town. Like there's no stores. Oh, Jesus. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. If I pull this off. We drive down to a different place. There's nothing here except houses. It's just a bunch of houses. And as we're driving deeper and deeper into this town, we come across this like abandoned church, and I was like, Joe, this place is really giving me cult vibes. Like, this is creeping me out. He was like, let's just drive to the end of this road, see where it leads us, because he was told that this town would have like a nice private beach at the end of it. And I was like, all right, you know, we'll give it a shot. And we drive to the end, and it's just like an apartment building with like barely a beach. The beach is just a bunch of rocks, like big rocks. And I was like, well, that was a disappointment. And we were doing this in the winter, too, so it was kind of cold outside. I got some cool pictures, though. But yeah, we get out. It's nice and quiet here. And so we walk around in, like, this frigid... I'm pretty sure it was below freezing that day. It was so cold. But we walk around for a while, explore, and we're like, all right, let's start heading to the next place. And so the next place we had on the list was Wilmington. And Wilmington is, like, right at the tippy top of Delaware. And at this point, I'm pretty sure we were in, like, the southernmost part of Maryland. So we drive into Wilmington. It's getting pretty late, and it's a Sunday. As we're in Wilmington, I'm like, Joe, look, dude, I'm starving. And he's like, all right, let's just head to the courthouse. It's just one courthouse here, and then we'll head to get something to eat. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I hadn't had lunch this day, so I was like ridiculously hungry, and it was already like 4 p.m. at this point. So Joe was like, all right, I found a free parking lot on Google Maps. Let's head over there, and then we'll start walking a couple blocks. He was like, it's just a few blocks and then we're gonna get into like a really nice part of Wilmington. And I was like, all right, you know what, whatever, it sounds like a plan. So we park and it's like this really shady McDonald's. I was like, Joe, like, where are we right now? And he was like, oh, I don't know, I just looked up free parking and this is the first place that came up. And I was like, all right, whatever. Get out of the car. We start walking around a little bit and I'm like, Joe, I really don't think we should be here. Like, we are in like, it's like a really hood part of town. And I was like, man, if my mom checks my location right now, she's probably gonna tell me to, like, what am I doing, and tell me to get out of here. But we keep walking, and as we're walking, there's just like a lot of people outside, a lot of people arguing. There's like a block party going on, which is pretty cool. And me and Joe aren't exactly like, we don't blend in, is what I'll say. Like, I'm really tall, Joe's pretty short. We're both obviously like, I don't know how to describe it besides like Joe kind of looks like a goody two shoes. I mean, I love Joe to death, but the guy's not exactly menacing, and so I was just like, yeah, I don't know about this, man. I don't think we can defend ourselves here. And even Joe was like, God, like, what have I gotten us into? Like, this is really shady. So yeah, we just keep walking through town, and I'm just getting progressively more and more hungry. And so we're walking through this like really shady area for like, I don't, like, probably 30 minutes to an hour. Like, we were there for a long time. Finally, we start getting, it literally turns from like you're straight up in the projects, it goes straight from that right into the center of Wilmington. And it's like this really nice area. There were like, there was like a plaza there. All the buildings there were insane. The courthouse was crazy. I mean, I haven't seen many courthouses, but that courthouse was really nice. And I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. We go there, we take some pictures, and Joe at this point is like, all right, let's just get the heck out of here. Like, you know, this has been a long trip. Let's find something to eat and roll. So we start looking around, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we passed a taco place on the way here. So yeah, we start looking for this taco place, and I'm like, why are the streets are so empty? Like, there's like nobody here. And I walk up to the taco place, like cross the street, walk to the taco place, and it's closed. And I'm like, what? Why is it closed? Like, what is happening? And I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, maybe it's just like, you know, tough luck. So we walk to the next restaurant, and it's closed too. And I'm starting to realize all the businesses in general are closed. And I was like, Joe, what the heck is going on here? And I just, wow. He's like, all right, well, I guess we'll just drive to the next town and we can find something to eat there. And I was like, Joe, how far is it to the next town? And he told me it was like 30 to 45 minutes. And I was like, Joe, brother, I haven't eaten lunch. I'm freaking starving. We got to eat at the McDonald's where you parked. And he's like, I really hate this part of town. Like, I really want to leave. And I was like, Joe, please, please, please let me stop at this McDonald's. So we walk to the McDonald's. I go inside. I start ordering my food. And there's this woman in there. There's this woman in the restaurant, and she's like yelling. And we don't really understand what she's yelling about. But Joe's like, dude, like, come on. We could have been out of here by now. And I was like, look, man, it's fine. Let's order our food. We order our food. I just get some chicken nuggets and fries. He gets a burger or something. I don't really remember. And we're waiting for the food, and it's taking forever. And then this man comes in, and the woman and the man start arguing. And I guess that they were like boyfriend and girlfriend or something, but they were arguing about like child support or something. I don't know. They were arguing and arguing and arguing, and he had taken her purse and he wouldn't give it back. So she's like screaming at him to give this purse back. And me and Joe are like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, I really was kind of regretting making him stay, but I was so hungry. So I finally get my food. They forget my barbecue sauce on top of all this. And then, as we're about to leave, the lady, and we're still waiting for Joe's food at this point, the lady gets on a table and starts screaming. She's standing on one of the tables and she's screaming at the man. And then the manager comes out. She starts cursing them out. She's like, you guys need to leave right now. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, and I'm pretty sure at this McDonald's that we were at, the manager had her daughters working there too. So they're like all cursing out this couple. And me and Joe are like, all right, we gotta roll. So we head out to the parking lot, and we're starting to worry, like, what if one of these people pulls a gun or something? Like, because when I say they were arguing, like, physically, like, they were fighting, almost. Like, they were getting pretty close. But finally, they get kicked out of the restaurant. Me and Joe start heading to his car, and they're in the parking lot. Now they're straight up fist fighting. Like they are straight up fighting. I don't remember if he was hitting her or if she was hitting him. One of them was hitting each other with a purse. They're pushing each other, and me and Joe are like, all right, we gotta get the heck out of here. And at this point, there's people kind of coming out of the neighborhood that's near this McDonald's, and they're starting to watch, and they're starting to yell too, and they're getting really riled up. And so Joe and I are like, all right, like I don't remember like if where Joe is from, but I don't think he has much experience in situations like this. And I just kind of told him like, Joe, if I were you, I feel like we should leave right now before this turns bad. And he was like, yeah, I agree. So we get in the car. We start driving away, and somebody either set off fireworks or a car was backfiring, but I straight up thought that we were getting shot, like people were getting shot at. But no, no one had a gun, thankfully. But for a second, I will say, my heart dropped. We get the heck out of there. We start driving away, and Joe and I mean, Joe cannot stop talking about how this was completely my fault and how if we could have just been out of town if I had just let us leave. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry. That was a bad call. It was a really bad call. But I will say, I wasn't hungry anymore. Even though that was like one of the worst McDonald's I've ever been to because the food was terrible and they forgot barbecue sauce. I wasn't hungry, so that was something. But yeah, we started driving to the next town, and this town was really cute. It was really beautiful. I don't remember where it was, unfortunately. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was a really pretty town. Like, it was really nice. Joe and I get out. It's nice and quiet. He eats his McDonald's like in front of the courthouse that we were staying at. We got the pictures, and he's like, all right, it's gonna get dark pretty soon, and if we want to make it back to campus, like, because we both had class in the morning, he was like, if we want to make it back to campus, we kind of gotta like move. So we take some pictures. We take a rest. We admire the really great town that we're in right now. It's got like a bunch of cute thrift stores and stuff. And he was like, we might have to come back here. This place is really nice. I agreed, but you know, we had places to be. So we get back in the car, and next we're heading to like a downtown area somewhere in Maryland. I don't remember where. And the sun is going down pretty fast, but me and Joe are committed at this point. He's like, look, we've already hit most of the courthouses in this area. We only have this last one, and then we can leave. And I was like, all right, that's cool, whatever. You know, like college, one thing that college teaches you is how to operate on less sleep. And I was like, all right, you know, whatever. The memories we made tonight are worth it. You know, like if I lose some sleep, I'll be all right. I'll live. So yeah, we start driving. It's a pretty far drive, and we get to this little town. Again, no one here. It's like basically abandoned, completely silent downtown. It was a really nice town as well, though. This one was honestly probably on par with the one that we had been at before. And there were like all the signs were covered in like, oh my god, a loot llama, what? All the signs were covered in like stickers. There was like a bunch of like political stickers, but they were all like really liberal, like Gen Z liberal stickers. And I was like, this is pretty cool, I guess. So we get to the town. We're walking around. We had to walk a couple blocks to the courthouse again, but luckily this was in a significantly nicer town. We get to the courthouse. It's kind of underwhelming, and then Joe is like, as we're walking there, Joe tells me like, dude, my phone's at 2%. And he's got one of those phones that will be at like 50% and then will just randomly plummet to like 2%. And he was like, it's literally gonna die any second. Will you be able to take a picture of this courthouse if my phone dies? And I'm like, I don't know. My phone's also almost dead, and we need one of these phones for GPS to get back, because keep in mind, we don't know where we are. And Joe is like, okay, let's just pray. His phone is moving ridiculously slow at this point. We make it to the courthouse. He manages to snap a picture, and then it basically dies immediately. And I was like, Joe, you have a charger in your car, right? And he's like, no, I don't. And I was like, I don't have a charger for you either. So we're thinking, like, what are we gonna do here? Then I get a phone call. One of my friends, for some reason, was at the airport, and he needed us to come get him. And I'm like, Joe, Joe is also running out of gas, okay? I was like, Joe, do you have enough gas to both get our friend from the airport and make it back to campus? And he was like, honestly, I don't think so. And so we text him back, and I'm like, look, we could probably get you, but it's gonna be a second. And he was like, Jesus Christ. And at this point, it's already like 11 o'clock at night. We're walking through a town that we don't know. Both of our phones, his phone is dead, mine's almost dead. And it's not looking great, okay? Everything's closed, so we can't even stop somewhere to, like, buy a charger. And Joe and I are basically just holding our breath and praying that my phone can last long enough to get us back to campus. So, we start driving. Oh. Hold on. Hold that thought. Holy aim. Did you guys see that aim? Wow. We're both holding our breath, praying my phone can make it till we get back to campus. We're in the car, and it starts getting ridiculously foggy. And Joe's got his high beams on, and I'm like, Joe, have you ever driven in fog before? And he was like, I don't understand. Where is this fog coming from? And, you know, I'm from a small town, so I was like, Joe, brother, this is what it's like driving at night, like next to a bunch of fields. And he was like, I've just never seen this before. Like, there's just fog. Like, there's just fog coming from nowhere. And I was like, yeah, that's just what happens. And so, I show him how to drive in the fog. I'm like, look, you gotta turn off your high beams. You're blinding anyone who's coming this direction. Don't drive so fast because there's deer out here. And he was like, deer? Like, what? Why would there be deer? And I'm just like, brother, this is just small town America, my friend. And we're literally in the middle of nowhere. I have no clue where we are. It's pitch black outside. It's completely foggy. I mean, you can't see a thing. Basically driving off of Joe's geographical knowledge because, like I said, he's kind of a whiz when it comes to that stuff. So he's pretty much just driving off memory. And honestly, I had pretty much full confidence that he would get us back safely. I wasn't too worried about it. But, you know, there is that, like, feeling in the back of your mind where, like, well, what if he doesn't get us back, you know? Like, what if we actually don't make it back safely and this might be the end and we get lost and, I don't know, die out here or something. Wow, I cannot believe he let me do that. Then, luckily enough, my friend calls me back. He's like, look, I don't need you guys to pick me up anymore. I got an Uber. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, thank God. My phone's almost dead, so, you know, if we can't contact you, just, don't worry. Oh, shoot, I forgot I'm almost dead. You know, don't worry about it. Like, I'm okay. We're just, our phone's dead. And he's like, all right, cool. So we start driving back to campus at this point. It's completely pitch black. It's like 11:30 at night. But yeah, we did make it back safely, thankfully. But it was such an eventful day. And honestly, that's probably like the most interesting story that I have from college because it was kind of an... Are you serious? It was kind of an uneventful year. To be straight up, what? What is up with the bots, man? Why am I just fighting straight bots? It was kind of an uneventful year besides that one interesting story, but definitely, I don't know about a highlight. The day was fun besides, like, you know, the domestic dispute in the McDonald's, but, yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. If I come up with anything else, you know, maybe I'll do an update. Maybe I'll go talk to Joe and see if he remembers anything. Maybe, who knows, maybe we'll even have him on. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. That's about it. Peace out.